And then I will, here we go. We are recording, and then I'll pass it on to Emily. So we're excited to have Emily back again for FSBO Fortune. Gosh, she is so good at teaching this. And so we are just excited to have you here, Emily. So thank you for being here, and let's kind of dive in.
Heck yeah. Thank you guys for being here. I'm super excited. We did this back in March and I had so much fun with it. I think a lot of people got a lot of value. And so I am just thrilled to be here again to get to do this and welcome. So I wanted to just start off by thanking you again for being here, for making this investment in your business and yourself. And I trust that if you are to take what we learned today and you're able to implement it into your business, then you are going to see results. So a little bit of background on me. When I first got my real estate license in August of 2018, I did not know where to start. I had just graduated college in May of 2018. I got married in June of 2018. I moved to Nashville in July of 2018. And then I got my real estate license in August of 2018. So life was changing very, very quickly for me at that time. I did not know anybody in Nashville. And so I remember walking into a class that was being taught at our market center in Ignite by a mentor, a now mentor and friend of mine. His name was Joe Sheeran, and he was teaching about for sale by owners. And guys, remember, I did not know a single soul in Nashville. And so when he started talking about for sale by owners, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. Right. And so I started calling for sale by owners. I just picked up the phone and started calling them. And trust me, it was not pretty. I did not know where to start. I definitely did not have any scripts memorized at that time. And I just took action. And one thing led to the next. And I listed my first for sale by owner home. Fast forward that year, my very first year in real estate, I sold 36 homes, 30 of which were for sale by owners. And in my second year of real estate, I've sold over 100 homes, 104 homes, and 50 of those were for sale by owners. And so I feel really, really grateful to have found a niche in an industry that can be really, really challenging. And I'm here to share a lot of what I've learned so that hopefully you can change the trajectory of your business and your life. The success that I have had with for sale by owners has opened doors in my life that I honestly never really imagined were possible. My husband and I bought our first home in April of 2020, and we now own 8 investment properties. We just returned home and we were traveling in our RV for about 8 months. We have a 6-month-old baby girl. Her name is Revel Rose. Guys, we have the financial freedom and the space to choose what we want to do and how we want to do it. We're able to give back and build a legacy for our family and for future generations. And I really believe that you can too. And so my hope for you in taking this class is that you're able to implement the tools that you learned today and use them to achieve your goals around for sale by owners. Now, whether that means you want to add a for sale by owner to your pipeline every single month, every single quarter, or make it your main source of business like I had, there's really no wrong answer here, and you get to choose, right? At the end of this class, you're going to have the opportunity to sign up for my master course, which is a 3-week course, 2-hour sessions each week. And there is a ton of value in that. But guys, there is so much value just in this free 60-minute class. I have had folks who have told me that they have listed for sale by owner homes just as a result of taking this class. So I'm super excited to get to share with you. I want to make sure that we are always adhering to the TCPA Act, the do not call list. If you have specific questions around the do not call list, then you need to reach out to your broker. All right. So let's look at why pursue for sale by owners. Number one, it takes very little money, right? It is absolutely free to call for sale by owners. You literally just have to go on Zillow. You can find them on Facebook Marketplace, on Craigslist, on forsalebyowner.com. You're not having to spend money on ads. You're not having to spend money for Zillow leads. It is free to call for sale by owners. Number two, it takes very, very little time, right? I make all of my FSBO calls between 8 and 8:30 every single morning. And then I do all my FSBO follow-up between 8:30 and 9 o'clock every single morning. So about an hour a day I'm spending calling for sale by owners. And I've had some people ask me in the past, what if I can't get on at 8? I've got another commitment. It's not so much about what time that you call. I like to call at 8 first thing in the morning. But if your schedule doesn't allow you to, it's more about the consistency in calling. Another tip that I would have for you is to set up an alert on Zillow with a separate email address. You can do a saved search on Zillow. That way, every single time a new for sale by owner hits the market, you can be the very first person to call them. So if I do have availability in my schedule later on the day, in the afternoon or the evening, I'm going to go on Zillow. I'm going to see what new for sale by owners have hit the market, where I get that alert again sent to my email address. Guys, 99% of the time, I am the very first real estate agent to reach out to these for sale by owners, and I cannot tell you how many of them have listed their homes with me simply because I was the very first person to call. All right, so it takes very little time. They're easy to find. Again, they are on Zillow, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, forsalebyowner.com. But the main source that I get my for sale by owners from is from Zillow. And then they're motivated quick sale. Most of the time, these for sale by owners are relatively motivated, right? They're raising their hand and they're saying, I want to sell my house. They just don't see the value in hiring a realtor. They want to save money on the commission, whatever it may be. And so it's up to us to show them the value in hiring a realtor. But again, they are typically, motivated people raising their hand saying, I want to sell my house. So when I sat down and I considered all of their tools and really the reasons why I had success in calling for sale by owners and listing for sale by owner homes, the first thing that came to mind for me was the mindset that I have developed over the last several years since I got my real estate license. And guys, that is the mindset that I am unstoppable. I once heard a coach and a mentor in my life say something that really stuck with me. And that is, if you want to learn from a successful person, don't ask them what they do, ask them how they think. So much of my success comes from my mindset. And so when I go on an appointment with a for sale by owner, or really anyone for that matter, I have the mindset walking into that appointment that I am the best realtor in Middle Tennessee. And if someone chooses not to work with me, they're missing out on the superior service that I can offer them, right? So let's talk about some facts around for sale by owners that I think will help to inspire you. And so number one is that in my experience, 80% of for sale by owners list their homes with a real estate agent within the first 3 weeks of being on the market, right? That is a ridiculously high percentage. And so a lot of times with me specifically, when I call for sale by owners, I will set an appointment with them on that very first phone call. And then I will list that home very, very quickly afterwards. And so I have a lot of people who ask me, how long should I wait to call the for sale by owner? I saw that they listed a couple days ago. How long should I wait? Call them immediately. Do not wait to call them. 80% of them will list their home within the first 3 weeks on the market. Again, you can set up some type of alert on Zillow. And that way you can be the very first person to be notified of that for sale by owner who's hit the market. So I trust that because you've invested your time into taking this class, you want to list FSBO homes. The reality is they are going to list their home with a real estate agent. 80% of them, it's either going to be you or it's going to be someone else. So do not wait to call them. Number two, according to the National Association of Realtors, the for sale by owner homes will sell for 15% less. The median sales price for sale by owner homes is 15% less than those that are listed by a professional real estate agent. That means that you can charge them your commission, whatever it is that you charge, 5, 6, 7%, and still save them at least 9% by listing their home with you, right? And so I did not make that statistic up. That is according to the National Association of Realtors. Number three, for sale by owners attract less than 10% of buyers in the marketplace. When was the last time that you had a buyer who told you they had they wanted a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, and you said, great, I'm going to go on Zillow. I'm going to go straight to all the for sale by owner listings. I'm going to find you what you're looking for, right? Probably not. Okay. Now, of course, we want to find our buyers, the homes that they're looking for, regardless if that's for sale by owner, off market, or on the MLS. But most of the time we find what we're looking for on, or what our buyers are looking for on the MLS, right? So less than 10% of buyers in the marketplace are for sale by owner homes. Number four, they are the absolute fastest way to make a sale in this industry, probably along with expireds. I once called a for sale by owner on a Monday morning. I set the appointment for that afternoon. I listed the home that night. I had photos scheduled the next morning. We listed the home the next afternoon. Guys, believe it or not, we had a cash buyer who wrote a sight unseen offer and we closed 2 weeks later and I got a commission. I mean, how amazing is that, right? So if you're someone who wants to add business to your pipeline sooner rather than later, then for sale by owners are a great option for you. Let's talk about some of the problems that for sale by owners face. And I think this will really help boost our mindset around the value that we can provide to for sale by owners. So I want you to drop it in the chat, the problems that for sale by owners face. What you got, guys? Lack of time, marketing, screening, exposure, lack of managing showings, marketing. There's so many problems coming in, I can't even keep track. Lack of information, pricing, investors lowballing them. Guys, there are a lot of problems that first sale by owners face, right? So I wrote down lack of exposure in marketing, dealing with bargain hunters, unqualified buyers. How do they really know who's qualified and who's not? Negotiating skills. I have seen a really, really high number of for sale by owners accept home sale contingencies without a right of first refusal because they had no idea what that even is, right? I also wrote down legal liability, security concerns. This is not their full-time job, right? How are they supposed to showings, coordinate with the different title company, the lender, the inspector, the appraiser? How about just being uninvolved emotionally, right? Or too involved emotionally, excuse me. I have been a part of a lot of transactions where if I would not have been there to kind of keep things at bay, then things might have fallen apart, right? So there are so many things problems that for sale by owners face that we can help them with. Okay. So it's just about catering our presentation and our scripting towards solving these problems. So I want to tell a quick story with you all about the very first for sale by owner that I ever listed. His name was Duncan Phillips. And guys, this was my very first week as a real estate agent. I did not have business cards at this point. I did not have signs, certainly didn't have any scripts memorized. And I just started picking up the phone and calling. And so I found this for sale by owner, Mr. Phillips, and he was had his home listed. It was actually nearby the apartment complex I was living in at the time. And I called him again. I had nothing memorized at this point, and I just say, "Hey, Mr. Phillips, this is Emily Peckham. I'm calling about your home for sale. Do you need any help selling it?" And he said, "Nope." And I said, "Okay, I'll call you tomorrow and see if you need any help then." So the next day I call him again. "Hey, Mr. Phillips, it's Emily Peckham again. Do you need any help selling your home?" "Nope." "All right, I'll call you back tomorrow." So guys, this went on and it became like the running joke between us. And so finally I ended up offering to host an open house for Mr. Phillips. And I called him afterwards. He agreed to let me host that open house. And I shared the results with him. They were not great. We had a lot of looky-loos and nosy neighbors, but no one serious. And so he said, "Okay, I'm ready to go ahead and meet with you." And so, guys, I'm freaking out. Like at this point, again, I don't have a listing presentation memorized. I mean, I'd probably spent 5 or 6 hours putting together some PowerPoint, and it was nothing special, I promise you that. And so he agreed to list his home with me. So I'm going to sign the listing agreement, and my hand is literally shaking because I am so scared. I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. I get in the car, I drive back to my office, and I'm like, "Okay, guys, you got to help me now. How do I sell this thing, right? Like, what do I do from here?" And so the point of this story is that I didn't have some amazing script, didn't have a great listing presentation. I literally just picked up the phone and called this man every single day and built rapport with him, and he listed his house with me. Okay, so I took action. And I think sometimes the difference between someone that's going to have success in anything, and specifically with for sale by owners, is literally just taking action. And so let's talk about some tips for calling for sale by owners. And like we've seen, tip number 1 is really just pick up the phone and call, right? I promise you that the more and more that you just take action and be consistent in picking up the phone and calling these for sale by owners, the more confidence you are going to have. Tip number 2 is get used to being told no. All right, look, do you really think that a for sale by owner listed their home on Zillow so that they could hear from, 50 real estate agents a day calling them, right? Probably not, okay? So when they are not so friendly with you, occasionally they might use a curse word. just understand where they're coming from and that they didn't list their home for sale by owner to hear from us real estate agents. So get used to being told no. Most of them I find are very, very nice. All right. Number 3 is to invest in a great dialer. I personally use Redx, and y'all are welcome to email me. My email address is emily@thepeckhamgroup.com. I do have a small discount if you guys do want to sign up for Redx. Using a great dialer is going to get you through contacts quicker and ultimately allow you to have more great conversations and ultimately more listings. All right. Now, if you are not ready to invest in a dialer, that is okay too. I recommend that you have some type of tracking sheet, whether that be just simply an Excel sheet or in your CRM that's going to say, you know, when you last called them, when you need to call them again, notes, and basically your plan of action. And we're going to talk a little bit about follow-up here in a minute. But again, you can also set up some type of alert on Zillow notifying you of FSBO leads that come in. Number 4, be enthusiastic. All right. I recommend that you make every single phone call standing up in front of a mirror, smiling. All right. Guys, I once called a gentleman, his name was Mr. Lane. And this was not a for sale by owner. That I was circle prospecting. And gosh, maybe 1 out of every 10 for sale by owners that I called picked up the phone. All right. So you know, I got hung up on. I mean, people aren't always super nice when you cold call them. And so I get that cold calling is not always fun. However, if you are going to do it, you need to stand out by having enthusiasm for your job. And so when I called Mr. Lane, I said, "Hey, Mr. Lane, it's Emily Peckham. I was calling about your home listed on 123 Main Street." And, or excuse me, he did not have his home listed at the time. I was calling about your home. I had seen that, I basically had seen that a home had sold nearby. And so I was circle prospecting. And Mr. Lane, turns out he had a home to sell. And so he hired me about 3 weeks later. And he called me one day and he said, "Emily, I want you to know why I hired you. When you cold call me, and gosh, I get cold calls all the time, you stood out. You were enthusiastic, and I could tell that you were passionate about what you did. That's what set you apart, and that's why I hired you." Right. So again, if you want to make cold calls, you know, circle prospecting, calling for sale by owners, whatever it may be, stand out by having enthusiasm for your job. All right. Last but not least is to dress for success. And so imagine that it's 8 o'clock in the morning. You wake up, you roll out of bed at like, let's say 7:40. You're going to start calling the for sale by owners at 8. You've got crusties in your eyes. You haven't had any coffee. You're in your sweatpants still, your pajamas. And you're like, all right, today's the day I'm going to start calling these FSBOs. All right, now the reverse, you wake up a little bit earlier, you spend some time in gratitude and affirmation, you've washed your face, you've brushed your teeth, you've had a cup of coffee, maybe a bite to eat, and you're standing up, you're in front of a mirror, you're professionally dressed, ready to go out the door on an appointment, because we never know when we're going to get a yes and need to be ready for an appointment. And you start calling for sale by owners. Which do you think you're going to have better success with? Right? The latter. Okay. So be dressed, ready to go. Now, again, I get it. I have a 6-month-old daughter. Sometimes I don't sleep well because she's not sleeping well. And so I know that life happens, but I'd encourage you, if you can, show up ready to go. All right. So let's talk a little bit about memorizing your scripts. Guys, memorizing your scripts is the most critical thing that you can do to have success with for sale by owners. When I first got my real estate license, I would practice somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours every single day. I'd practice half that time with a script partner, so I could hear different objections. And then I would practice for half that time. I would walk on the treadmill at lunch, and I would spend that time memorizing scripts. Okay. People ask me sometimes, like, how do I get the confidence to call? And again, you do have to pick up the phone and be consistent. That's going to give you confidence. But also memorizing your scripts is going to give you confidence, right? How can we be confident if we don't have the tools in our toolbox? Okay. So if it sounds a little bit overwhelming, it probably should, right? It's not necessarily an easy task, but if you can practice memorizing scripts and objection handlers for 1 hour every single day, I promise it is going to make a difference in the way that you show up. All right. So talking about scripts, let's talk about the for sale by owner call script that I use to call FSBOs. I'm going to put it up on the screen for y'all to share or to see. And then Vicki and I are going to be role playing this. She's my my lucky FSBO today. So guys, remember, we're standing up, we're enthusiastic, we're professionally dressed, we're smiling, and we start calling for sale by owners. Now, I am going to, this is the script that I use. In the master course, one thing that we will do is you'll get to watch live videos of successful appointments that I have set with for sale by owners. You'll get to watch me covering objection handlers. You'll also see videos that are unsuccessful, right? I'll give you all those different examples, and let's go ahead and dive in though. Vicki, are you ready for me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, ring, ring, ring. This is Emily Peckham with Keller Williams. I'm another real estate agent calling you.
Oh my gosh, hello.
Hey, how's
Another
it going?
realtor.
Am I lucky number 10?
How are you?
I'm great. Am I lucky number 10?
Just about.
Oh gosh. I always joke with people, when you put your home on Zillow for sale by owner, all the realtors start calling you.
Isn't that the truth?
I know. It is a beautiful home. I love the front porch. That's where I would be spending all my time.
Oh,
Where
thank
are
you
you
so
moving
much.
to?
We are actually moving to Florida.
Ah, Florida. What's taking you there?
We have family there and we want to be closer to them.
Okay. Do you all already have a home picked out in Florida to be closer to your family?
Not yet. No, we want to make sure we have everything in line on this end first.
Okay, so you're wanting to get this home sold first in order to get to Florida to be closer to your family.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, Vicki, let me ask you this. If for some reason the home did not sell by owner, how long would you wait before you might interview an agent?
I mean, I want to give it some time, honestly. So about a month or so, I'm thinking.
Okay, so you'll wait about a month or so?
Yeah. I mean, I would really like to see what I can do myself first.
Hey, I totally understand. Let me ask you this, Vicki. If there was, or let me ask you, most for sale by owners that I talk to, they want to save money on the commission. Is that the main reason that you had listed for sale by owner?
Yeah, I mean, the more money that I can make on this sale, the more I can put into the house down in Florida.
Hey, I'm all about saving money too, so I completely understand. Let me ask you this, Vicki. If there was a way that I could show you that I could sell the property for you and net you more money than you could selling the home by owner, even after my commission is paid, is that something that you'd be interested in just looking at?
Um, Gosh, I mean, I want to give it a little bit of time, but it does sound nice if you're possibly able to do that.
Absolutely. I've got availability at 4:30 or 6 o'clock tonight, which is better for you.
Oh, let's do 4:30. That sounds good.
4:30. Okay. Guys, Vicki, you could have even been harder on me, to be honest with you.
I know, I
Well, we'll
know.
talk about objection handlers here in a minute. But notice that I didn't just, now you've got the framework for the script, and the key elements are, am I lucky number 10? That helps to break the ice with them. I also, ask how long they would wait before Vicki would interview an agent. And then obviously I ask her if there was a way that I could show you that I could sell the property for you and net you more money than you could selling the home by owner, even after my commission is paid. Is that something that you'd be interested in just looking at? That's probably the most important line in that script. But what you'll notice is that I'm not jumping in to ask that question immediately. If Vicki wants to tell me all about her move to Florida, I really want to engage her as much as I possibly can, right? So that's the script. And yeah, it's relatively simple, right? So even though we have a pretty awesome script memorized, if I say so myself, usually we're going to have a couple objections when we're talking to for sale by owners. So we're going to cover a couple of those objections here in a minute. We've got time for about 2 of the main 8, and then the remainder will be covered in the master course. But I want to talk a little bit about objections. First things first, objection is a good thing. Yeah, you heard me right. An objection is a good thing. Okay. Basically, an objection is an unanswered question. So somewhere along in your conversation with a for sale by owner, maybe you have not addressed something and that leaves a question in the prospect's mind. Have you guys ever been on an appointment where the for sale by owner, or really anyone that you were meeting with, any listing appointment, they didn't ask any questions or they didn't express any objections? From personal experience, that's usually not a good thing, right? Generally, it means they're just not interested. Even if they might be, a little abrasive, at least it means that he or she is emotionally interested or involved. So an objection, again, it means the prospect needs more information, right? And expressing concerns or asking questions is how they gather that information. When they say, I need to think it over, what they're really saying is, I'm not yet convinced and I need more information to be certain of a decision. Or if they say, I need to talk it over with my friend or my family member, or really any other third party for that matter, what they're really saying is, I need approval and assurance. Okay. There's a difference though between a condition and an objection. An objection is nothing more than an unanswered question, right? Now, a condition, on the other hand, is a barrier that prevents a prospect from selling. So maybe they don't have any equity in the home, or maybe they'd have to bring money to the closing table, or they say, I cannot make a decision without my spouse. These are conditions that you cannot remedy even with the most brilliant of listing presentation or objection handlers. So one thing that we'll cover in the master course is the framework for handling any objection, because occasionally you will get an objection that you've just never heard before. So we'll talk about how to handle those. But for the most part, we're going to get the same objections all the time, right? So here they are. Number 1 is bring me a buyer. Number 2 is I have a friend in the business. Number 3 is I don't need an agent. I can sell it myself. I've sold for sale by owner before. I'll just list flat fee MLS. I already have an agent that I would work with. I don't see how you could do that. One that I forgot to put up here that we will cover later on in the master course as well is I'm not paying a buyer's agent commission. And that is not necessarily new to, the NAR stuff that's going on right now. That's one that I've gotten every once in a while throughout my time calling for sale by owner. So we'll address that one as well. But the first one, bring me a buyer. Who's heard this one before? And a lot of times they'll say, bring me a buyer and I'll pay you, X% commission. Mr. For sale by owner, thanks for saying that. What I hear you saying is that you're wanting to save the additional 3% that it would cost for you to hire me, right? And if you were as confident as I am that by hiring me, you would actually more than make up for that difference in commission and put more money in your pocket, you'd probably go ahead and hire me, wouldn't you? I've got availability at 4:30 or 6 o'clock, which is better for you. And then I have a friend in the business. Who's heard this one? We've probably all heard this one, right? And so great, Mr. For sale by owner, can we agree that the sale of your home is a business decision? In fact, it's one of the most important business decisions that you will ever make. With a decision that big, most people that I talk to will interview at least 2 or 3 agents so that you can be absolutely sure that you have the best person representing me. Representing you, excuse me. Why don't we sit down for just 20 minutes and I'll show you why so many people hire me. I've got availability at 4:30 or 6 o'clock, which is better for you. All right, so that's honestly the main 2 that I get personally. And then we'll cover the rest later on. All right, so let's talk a little bit about follow-up. So guys, follow-up is the name of the game. I sat down at the end of 2020 and I reviewed my numbers and I had a lot of ahas around follow-up. So in 2020, I sold 103 homes. And that year, 49 of those 103 were for sale by owner listings. 37 of those 49 said yes to an appointment with me on our very first phone call. And then of those 37, 25 agreed to list with me on the initial appointment. 12 of the 49 did not agree to list with me on the very first phone call, and they required more follow-up. And then of those 12, 5 eventually agreed to list with me. So guys, so much of my success has come from consistent follow-up. That year, if I would have just stopped following up altogether, I would have only sold 25 for sale by owner listings instead of, it says 49, it's actually closer to 50. My average commission that year was $9,000. That is $225,000 in GCI that I would have missed out on. That is a lot of money, right? And so follow up with for sale by owners is super important. So I'm going to give you some ideas that you can use to implement into your business for follow up with for sale by owners. And you could use this for any seller or buyer for that matter as well. All right. So first things first, regardless of if I set an appointment with a for sale by owner on that initial call or not, I'm always going to send them a text with my contact card. So my contact card is just, in my phone, my contact card, it's got all of my information, my email address, my website, my social handles. I send that text to them immediately after we hang up the phone. And then I also send them a nice to meet you video, and I will play that for you all here in a second. Second, my level of follow-up is really going to be dependent on how motivated that for sale by owner is, right? So I'm going to determine motivation by asking really good questions. And I'm going to give you all kinds of questions in the master course that you can ask for sale by owners to both build rapport with them and to determine their motivation. But if they're highly motivated, I'm going to follow up with them every single day. Now, here's an example of someone who's highly motivated. They're moving to South Carolina. They've already got a home picked out there. It's contingent on this home selling, and they're starting their job there in 2 months. That's someone who's probably pretty motivated, right? So again, I'm going to spend most of my time focusing on those that are motivated. Now, just because someone tells me that they're not motivated doesn't necessarily mean that they're not motivated. That might just be a tactic to get me off the phone, right? So, I mean, think about it. If a for sale by owner takes the time to get their home listed on Zillow, to take all these pictures and upload them to Zillow, they're probably at least a little bit motivated, right? Now, however, on the flip side, if they have listed their home for $200,000 over asking price and they are not willing to come down on their price at all, they're probably not super motivated, okay? So again, it takes practice and awareness to really gauge someone's motivation. But let's look at a quick example of a follow-up plan for someone who is motivated. All right, so first things first, again, I'm going to send them a text with my contact card. And then I'm also going to send them immediately after I hang up the phone a nice to meet you video. And so you'll see this in a second. You can either film a custom nice to meet you video for every single for sale by owner that you speak with. Or if you want to, you can have one that is more generic. So if I were filming one specifically for Vicky, that I might say, hey, Vicky, it's Emily Peckham. I enjoyed speaking with you. I'm super jealous that you're moving to Florida. That sounds like a wonderful place. And thank you so much for taking my call. I enjoyed just having a quick chat with you. I'm going to continue to follow up with you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. All right. So that would be something that was more unique to Vicky specifically, and probably if you guys had time to do that, would set you apart from your competition. All right, but here's a more generic one if you wanted to just film one, and you can either upload it to YouTube and send them a YouTube link, or you could have a folder in your phone that was specific follow-up videos that you send to for sale by owners.
Hey, this is Emily Peckham with Keller Williams. I just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today over the phone. It was so nice to meet you, and below you will find my contact card. Go ahead and save me to your contacts, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future.
All right, so there's that one. And then I'll also send them another video getting tired of the calls. And this is something I might say to the for sale by owner over the phone as well. It can be said over the phone to lighten the mood. Also can be texted to them as a video.
Hey, it's Emily Peckham again. As I mentioned earlier, you're probably going to get a ton of phone calls from real estate agents. So if you need a script to get them off the phone, you can just tell them that when you list your home, it'll be with Emily Peckham of Keller Williams Realty. Have a wonderful day.
So there's another one. And then I also send them testimonial videos from past clients that I have worked with. And so let's see here. I'm just going to refresh this real quick.
Hi, my name's Debbie Barnes, and I just want to tell you that my husband and I just recently sold and then purchased a new home. And we used Emily Peckham with Keller Realty. She has been just so easy to work with, informative, does the legwork that she needs to do, and is with you through the whole process from beginning to end. And we couldn't be happier. We've worked with other realtors before, but this was the easiest, stress-free experience that we've had, and made a good friend in the process. So if you're thinking of buying or selling, please use Emily. We are so happy that we did. Thank you, Em.
All right, so notice that I did not send a camera crew out to Miss Barnes' house. This was something that she just, did in 30 seconds on her iPhone. Does not have to be very special. It was a little blurry. Doesn't matter. All right. So you could reach out to all your past clients and ask them to film, a 30-second video of what their experience was in working with you. Some people ask me, well, I haven't sold a home yet. What do I do? Well, reach out to a former employer of yours and ask them to just film a quick 30-second video of their experience in their working relationship with you, right? So you could do one of those two things. You could just continue this follow-up plan by, using as many testimonial videos as you possibly, could get from your past clients. Now, one thing that we'll do in the master course, I'm going to give you 2 different follow-up plans that are about 45 days each. So there will be no guessing. I mean, it will just be a system that you can follow, and videos and all kinds of things that you can send to for sale by owners. I'll also give you 30 or so ideas for following up with for sale by owners, but these are some of the main ones that I like and I use every single day. Now, again, if they are motivated, you want to make sure that you're calling them or texting them at least every other day for the first week or 2 on the market, and then maybe every 5 to 7 days after that. Okay, so we want to call them a lot. Now, we're sending text messages. We're also calling. Some people ask me, what do I say when I call them, right? So what you say is not as important as the fact that you are actually still following up with them and calling them. I think the statistic is that after about 3 weeks, 90% of realtors are no longer following up with for sale by owners. So if you can just follow up with them for longer than 3 weeks, then you're doing better than most real estate agents out there. It is about staying top of mind. I always get asked, what do I say when I call them, right? Don't complicate it. This might sound wild, but after that initial phone call with the for sale by owner, what we say is not as important as is not the most important thing. And I'm not saying that it doesn't matter at all, but it's not the most important thing. So normally when I call a for sale by owner and I'm following up with them, let's say they listed their home on a Monday, it's Wednesday, I'm calling and I'm saying, hey, it's Emily Peckham. I'm sure that you have gotten a lot of phone calls in between now and the last time that we spoke, so you probably don't even remember me. But I'm gonna guess that you have heard from, gosh, at least 30 or 40 real estate agents at this point. Am I right? So you're trying to build a rapport with them again, lighten the mood, and then just say, hey, I know that it's been a couple days since you listed. What's your experience been so far selling your home for sale by owner? How are things going? Is there anything that I can help you with? And then of course, we're always trying to close for the appointment as well. So Mr. For Sale by Owner, I would love to sit down with you and show you why so many people choose me. Do you have availability or which is better? I've got availability at 4:30 or 6, which is better for you. Notice that what I don't say is 4:30, does 4:30 or 6 o'clock work for you? You're not giving them a yes, no, you're giving them an either or. All right. So again, I'm not using some magic script. I'm just asking how things are going. I'm asking how their activity has been. And then seeing if they have any thing that they need help with or any additional questions for me. Or, maybe if Vicky had told me that she was moving to Florida, I might say, hey, have you seen any homes in Florida recently that have caught your eye? Or, it's super cold here in Nashville. I am getting very, very jealous of the fact that you are moving to Florida, right? So it's about building rapport with them and just getting further and further along in that conversation. All right, so that is pretty much all that we have time for today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the master course, and then I want to open it up. I think we'll have at least 10 or 15 minutes, hopefully, for questions here at the end. But if you got a lot of value from what we've covered today and you want to take it a step further, in fact, if you want to take it several steps forwards, then you need to sign up for the master course. This is going to be 3 sessions. It starts on June 19th. We have another session on June 26th and then on July 8th. These will be 2-hour classes. In session 1, we're going to talk all about mindset and gratitude and affirmations, how to boost your mindset, how to get the inspiration to call for sale by owners. We'll talk about more problems that for sale by owners face. We'll talk about why for sale by owners list their homes for sale by owners so we can cater their presentation to their specific objection. We'll talk about memorizing scripts and building rapport. I'll give you questions to build rapport with your sale by owners and to determine their motivation. We'll really unpack that FSBO call script and we'll give you the reasons why we're saying what we're saying. We'll talk about the difference between a preview and an appointment. We'll watch several successful appointments that I've set. Guys will get to watch live videos of me calling for sale by owners and handling different objections. I'll give you all the different objection handlers that you could ever need. In session 2, we'll talk all about follow-up. So session 2, we'll talk about the importance of follow-up. We will make sure that we're abundantly clear on the answer to the question, how often do I follow up and what do I say? We'll talk about determining a seller's motivation. I'll give you specific follow-up plans that you can implement into your business so that you will not have to do any guessing around follow-up. I'll give you, it says 23, but it's actually closer to 30 follow-up ideas. Then we'll also talk about the importance of pre-qualification and the pre-qual script. In session 2, I don't have this written up here, but we will also watch 3 interviews of former clients of mine that were for sale by owners and listed their houses with me. I'll ask them questions like, what was it about me that stood out to you in comparison to the other real estate agents who were calling you? I'll ask them what their impression of was of the other real estate agents who were calling. I'll also ask them what they liked and disliked about their time on the market as a for sale by owner before they listed with me. And then in session 3, we will talk about what is a pre-listing presentation, what does it include, what are the benefits, and how do we deliver it. The appointment, I will give you my listing presentation script. So you'll have that, and you'll also, we'll talk about how to prepare for it and what to bring on it. And then I'll give you all the different objection handlers that you could ever need during the listing presentation, right? So we'll cover all of that, and then we'll also cover follow-up post-appointment. Guys, somebody told me that this was the most materials and downloads that they have ever gotten in any real estate training ever. So you will have so many downloads, all the scripts that you could ever need, follow-up plans. There is so much out there. The cost of the class is $500. However, if you are a member of Inspire, there's a discount for you. The course would be $400. There's also an early bird special. If you sign up between now and June 7th, the cost of the class is $425. And if you have taken again or taken it once and want to take it again, it would be $150 for you. Here's what some of the past folks who have taken it are saying. And here is this QR code to sign up. You can also go to FSBOfortune.com and sign up there. Guys, I hope that you got a ton of value out of today, and I hope to see you there. We're going to watch 2 videos from folks who have taken the class back in March, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. And it looks like we're going to have at least 15 minutes to answer some questions. So we'll just watch 2 30 or 45-second videos, and then we'll dive into questions.
Emily Peckham is a genius person. She is absolutely the
Emily Peckham's FSBO course is hands down probably the best real estate related class that I have taken the whole time that I've gotten my license. And that's the honest to God truth. She doesn't pull back. She doesn't hold anything back from beginning to end. Templates, text messages, the presentation, everything that she does, she provides it, the scripts, everything. You are so prepared and confident. All you have to do is go implement it. If you're willing to put the work in, you can build a business just off of this course. I'm so grateful that I took it, and I'm already seeing the benefits. So I definitely recommend take the class.
There is in talking about FSBOs. I learned so much from her class. It's incredibly well organized. She gives you everything you could possibly need to create FSBOs as part of your business. And she's just genuinely a wonderful person. I've reached out to her personally with questions on a couple of occasions, and she's always gotten back to me. Must add, take that class.
All right, so we have about 15 minutes for questions. I'll leave the QR code up on the screen. One thing that I did want to share with you is that I looked it up. The median sales price in the United States is $420,000 right now. That would be roughly a $12,000 commission. If you take this class and you are able to convert one for sale by owner listing as a result of taking this class, you would 30x your investment. So I have spent so much time putting this together, and I hope that you all will see the value in taking it. But let's go ahead and get some questions answered. I see Sonia's got her hand raised.
Hi. Yeah, so I'm Inspire member, and I want to sign up. I bet I don't see a code. I just joined Inspire recently.
Okay, we will make sure that you get Inspire members should get a code sent to their email.
There should have been, Emily, let me just pop in for a second. There were 2 emails that were sent out at 1 p.m. Eastern. So check your inboxes for one for Inspire members and one for returning attendees with your promo codes. Those are, specific to you. So, let us know too at James's team, either me or Nadine on this call or Anna, and we can help you. So if you don't see them in there, but they should be in your inbox. So, and we are excited to have everyone back. So I will turn it back over to you, Emily.
Awesome. Thank you, Vicki. Tiffany.
Hi, Emily, and thank you again for the info. This has been an amazing call. I did the first one the last time, and this call really just gave me the confidence to just move forward with FSBOs and being able to feel confident. So my first listing actually ended up being a FSBO that I converted because of your class. So thank you again. Can't tell you thank you enough for that. Just a really quick question though. Do you send a consent form for your clients when they're going to do the video? Like, do you make them sign anything or anything like that?
When they film like a testimonial video?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I ask them permission if it's okay if I I have usually sent them other, testimonials, and then so then I'll ask them, hey, you remember when I sent you all those testimonial videos? Is it okay if you send me one that I can send out to other folks, who are listed for sale by owner? And I do get their permission. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
May I ask a question as well?
Yeah, I'm
Can
gonna
you hear me?
go. I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
I was driving. I'm sorry. Do
You're
we
good.
join the group? What was that group on Facebook? The Inspire. What was it again?
So James Inspire group is we can send you the link for that. He's got a mastermind group that he does.
It's a private mastermind group. You can go to jamesdshaw.com to get more information for it. All are welcome. I'll put it in the chat as well. So, but it's James's private group.
Perfect.
All
Nicholas.
right, sounds good.
Yeah, Emily, love the conversation. I think it's definitely worth looking at. My question though is, I live out on a peninsula, and I was just curious from your own experience, how far out do you prospect your FSBOs? How far would distance-wise or travel time-wise?
Good question. I used to go a little bit farther than I did before. I have a 6-month-old baby now, so I just feel like I don't want to drive an hour and a half like I used to be willing to do. So I used to go about an hour and a half. Now it's closer to about 50 minutes from Nashville is the radius that I'll cover. Now, occasionally, if there's one that I'm like, you know what, I will list the home. I'm not sure I want to drive out there unless I get the listing. I will encourage them to meet via Zoom, and I have listed probably 2 or 3 in the last 3 months where I have just met with them over Zoom. Now, I would encourage you, especially as you're new into calling for sale by owners, to really push for in-person appointments. But occasionally you could use Zoom as an option if the time just didn't work out, for you to be able to get there. So that's an option too.
Very good. Thank you.
Zaranta.
Hi everyone. I'm Z's assistant. She couldn't make it because she is unwell. But we just wanted to know because we've taken the previous FSBO class, and so she just wanted to know if this one will be the same information or if we'll have anything new in there that we should, probably take a look at.
Oh, she's taking the previous, the last offering back in March.
Yes.
A lot of the material will be the same. We will do some interviews with past clients. That is all new material. We'll also have a little bit more conversations around inspiration to get you into implementation, into calling for sale by owners, because some folks who have taken it are saying, I'm just having a hard time implementing. So we'll talk about that. And then we will also cover some materials around the objection. I'm not paying a buyer's agent commission. We'll make sure that we cover that as well.
Okay, so there is going to be some new content in there.
There will be some new content, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yep. You're welcome. Patricia.
Hi, I hope you can hear me, Emily. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for sharing your information today with us. My question is, if I decide to sign up and I'm not available on June 26th, I'm sorry, the second class, will the sessions be recorded?
Yes, they will all be recorded. You'll have lifetime access to all the recordings, as well as all the class materials. Thank you for asking that. I forgot to mention that. Andrea.
Thank you. In the slide where you cited data talking about the median sales price is 15% less with FSBOs, that slide, and you're citing it from NAR, Zillow, etc. Can you provide links to the reports that showcase this data so then I can know where to resource it and share that with my prospective sellers?
If you
And then
send me an email address or an email, excuse me, at emily@thepeckhamgroup.com, we can send that to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Eric.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Listen, I got a quick question. You were talking about the contacts on the FSBOs. Do you also put them on smart plans campaigns? And if you do, how long do you keep them on something like that?
So that is up to you. I have in the past, I've done it both ways. I've either done it just manually or on smart plans. The reason I don't do it on smart plan right now is because if it's connected to Twilio, sometimes the text messages come in weird and it doesn't look like it's coming from me. I save every for sale by owner in my contact as their name and their address. And that way, when they call me, I can pick up the phone and I say, hey, Angela, thank you so much for reaching out. How can I help you? And they know that I've got them saved, in my phone. And I don't want any of the text messages to kind of come in, funky looking if I'm sending them a video. So for that reason, I don't. But that does make it a little bit more cumbersome. So it's up to you on how you want to implement it. Some people do use smart plans or, their different CRMs.
Okay. When you do this normally as well, do you also get the buy side lead on that from them being FSBOs a lot of times, or is that?
A lot of times I do work with them on the buy side, unless they're, of course, moving out of state, and then I'll be able to refer them a lot of times.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. Anybody else? Let's see. Andrea.
Hi. Thank you for doing this, by the way.
You're welcome.
In 2022, or 2021, I'm not 100% sure, but I focused just on for sale by owners. There were a lot of them and it was somewhat successful with them. But then the next year, they so every listing I got that year was for sale by owner. But the next year, there were much fewer. And even now, they're even less. So I stopped working on them because there were a lot less of them. And they're staying on for a long time, like, 100 days, 200 days, 300. I mean, these people, it's like it became a career move, it's like they're enjoying it. Their motivation must be, really, really low. They don't have to, maybe they're just testing the water. I'm not sure. So it's very few of them for a big area with a lot of agents here, and they're staying on long. And what I found that, when I would talk to other people that were doing this, working for sale by owners, I found that other areas of the country, people are different. Like, they're able to have these conversations, but I'm in New Jersey and, the tri-state area, I mean, they're really aggressive. You call them and they like, they try to get you off the phone. They're abrupt. Some of them are rude, so the two questions I have is, will you address how to handle people like that in this neck of the woods? And also the ones that are just hanging around forever, it's a limited amount and they're just seem to have a lot of stamina. I don't know what to do with someone like that.
We will talk about both those things. Like, one thing that we'll do is talk a lot about building rapport and mirror and matching and how do we relate to the different people that we're talking to. Because I've got clients on both ends of the spectrum, and one of the interviews that I did is with a man who I think he might have been from New York originally, a for sale by owner, a client of mine that agreed to let me interview him a couple weeks ago. And this was one of the just kind of rough around the edges guys. And when I first called him, he was not very nice. And so I was able to win him over, but I do work with people like that, all different personalities. So we'll definitely cover that. And then I think right now, it's changed for me over the years too. When I first got into the market or to the business in 2018, it was kind of more similar to how it is now. where it's taking a little bit more follow-up, whereas 2021 and 2022, a lot of times, you know, I would set an appointment with them that morning. I'd go on an appointment with that afternoon. They list the home with me immediately. And for that was partially because of the market. I am not adding my commission on top of the sales price in order to net them more money. And we'll make sure that we are abundantly clear on how we are netting them more money in the listing presentation. But what I'm not saying is, okay, you've got your home listed at 300, I'll list it for 310 and we'll pay my commission that way. But in 2020 and 2021, that would occasionally happen. I mean, they would have their home listed at 300 and I would look at comparables and I'd say, look, I really believe I can get you 315. And sometimes I'd list it for 315 and we get 325, right? So for that reason, things look a little bit different than they do now. Now I'm seeing that a little bit more follow-up is necessary. But I was on a RV trip last year, so I wasn't calling as much. And then I came back and I have a 6-month-old daughter. So I've been back into calling for sale by owners now for about 3 months. And I have listed 10 in the last 3 months. And so I've got, you know, most of those are coming from a few weeks of follow-up in order to set an appointment with them. Or about 50% of them are follow-up, and then 50% of them I'm listing on that first or second phone call.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Gloria.
There you go. I had to unmute myself. I just wanted to reiterate things that you were saying. There is so much opportunity. I'm in the business almost 30 years next year. And I built my business on for sale by owners. I was a, you know, mom with 3 kids at home. So I cold called, I did FSBOs, I did open houses, and I was and still am the FSBO queen. So
I love it.
I'm really looking forward to some of the things that you know you're saying, and maybe I can even jump in on some of the old school ways that still work.
Yeah.
You know, I used to show up with a
Absolutely.
FSBO kit. And if I could throw out the tip is start immediately, the day they go on the market, because it will take them, depending on the market you're in, weeks before they'll finally go, okay, I need a realtor to do this. But if you're solidifying that relationship from the day they put the sign in the ground, they will call you to come in when they're ready. That's all I want to say.
You're right about that. Yeah, I have so many people that I talk to that, I mean, I will call them 11 minutes after, like, let's say they listed at 1 o'clock. I'll call them at 1:05 or 1:10, and they're like, wow, you're really on top of it. If I do list my home, I'll be listing it with you. And they do, because I continue to follow up with them.
Absolutely.
Thanks for sharing. Mariah.
Hi, Emily. I'm a new owner, complete opposite of Gloria. New agent. So I've been in the industry less than a year, and I was doing for sale by owners, and I called this one man and I was able to get an appointment. But I wanted to see what your strategy is. Do you have someone go with you? Because that experience was actually a very comfortable, weird interaction, and I didn't realize. I thought that was part of the business until I talked to my some of the people in my office, and they're like, absolutely not, that's not how that's supposed to go. So I didn't know, especially with you as a mom, as a new mother, like what your safety tips were when having that first initial appointment, or how do you go about that?
I would look them up on Forewarn. It's a site that you can use just to make sure that, you know, there's no criminal record or anything like that. I don't usually take anyone with me. Occasionally, if I just have, you know, a certain feeling that, you know, I don't feel super safe about it, then I will post in my market center group and I'll say, hey, does anyone want to come shadow me? And I will explain it to the for sale by owner. Hey, you know, I do a lot of teaching and coaching, and I'd love to bring an agent with me so that they can learn as well. Is that okay with you? So I've done that a few times. But I would recommend getting the Forewarn app too. Some market centers or brokerages will offer that to their agents, so you have to check with your broker.
Okay, thank you. I think he was fine. He was just a little weird and just invasive.
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
I mean, if you have that feeling, then trust your gut, because I have had some close calls for sure. Amber,
Yeah, I did.
We got time for Amber and Glenda, and then for anyone else that has a question that has not been answered, then you can email me at emily@thepeckhamgroup.com.
Hi, Emily. Thank you. Three really quick questions. How do you send the video? Do you do through YouTube?
So I have YouTube links, but recently I've just been sending, I have a folder in my iPhone that's like all my for sale by owner videos, and I'll just send it directly. And I just like the way that it pops up on their screen that way, like versus them having to click a link. I just feel like the chances of them opening it are a little bit higher. So I send it directly for that reason.
Okay. And then you manually do all of your texting and manually emails too? Manually?
Yeah. I am,
Okay.
and like I said earlier, that's because if I send video links through Twilio, for example, I want them to feel like it's actually me sending it, and sometimes they can tell that it's from like an automated system or service when it comes through
Sure.
Twilio, which is like what we have through Command. But that would be up to you. I mean, if that's going to prevent you from actually doing it, if you have to do it manually, then I would set it up in your CRM. But I promise you that my follow-up literally takes me like 15 to 20, 30 minutes tops every single day with for sale by owners.
Okay. And then the date for the July class again is?
So it's 6/19, 6/26, and then 7/8. Those are the dates, and everything will be recorded. All right, we got time for one more, and then like I said, anybody who did not get their questions answered, feel free to email me. Glenda, what you got?
Hey, Emily, thank you so much for this class. I love the structure and all the information that you put into it. I'm relatively new to FSBOs. Actually, who am I kidding? I'm brand new to FSBOs. I've set one appointment with the FSBO about 2 weeks ago, and I didn't get the listing. But I live in an area where there are not a whole lot of FSBOs. So my question is, do you have a threshold that you recommend? Like, how can I assess if this is going to be a good strategy for me in terms of how many FSBOs are in my area? I just looked it up, and I think I see like 13.
13. Okay, how many new ones? Have you tracked it long enough to see how many new ones are popping up every day?
No, I literally just went to look for it when you said check it out on Zillow.
Okay. I would say if there is, one popping up every day or every other day, then I would say that's absolutely still worth it. I mean, some days I'll get 0 that pop up in the market here, and then other days there'll be, 3 or 4. But I mean, if you are one of the only agents calling them, then you could be the one listing all 13. So I would say, again, if you listed one for sale by owner by taking this class, then you would 30x your investment. I would, depending on what your average sales price is in that area. So I would say it's still worth taking for sure.
Okay.
And also, one thing that I'll note is that this is valuable information if you just want to be a listing agent. Like, if you can list for sale by owners, you're going to be very, very confident on every single listing appointment that you ever go on. And even with buyers too, this is going to give you confidence, follow-up tools, listing presentation. I mean, it's applicable to all aspects of your business.
I love it. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Emily,
all right,
thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for being here. Shelly, send me a message on Facebook or email me or text me. And I look forward, hopefully, to seeing all of you on June 19th. I'm going to Montana next week, do some fly fishing, and then I'll be back ready to talk all things for sale by owner. See you guys soon.
Excellent. Bye, everyone. We'll be sending out this recording later today. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.